All right. Are you ready to cover the last chapter for the semester? The last chapter for the book, which is also on pricing, because pricing is so important nowadays. I am Amurjan Rahimov at Webster University in Tashkent. This recording has become possible thanks to generous support from UNESCO Unitwin Open Courseware Open Education Resource Initiative. Let's go. Learning out objectives for today are the following. First, identify issues related to developing pricing objectives. Second, discuss the importance of identifying the target market's evaluation of price. Third, explain how marketers analyze competitors' prices. Fourth, describe the basis used for setting prices. And 5, explain the different types of pricing strategies. Last but not least, describe the selection of a specific price. All right, so this diagram shows step-by-step price establishing method. We're going to look at each one separately. I just want to note that for marketers, pricing is an area where they can show a lot of creativity. We're going to see that in various examples throughout these slides. Step 1 of the price setting process, pricing objectives. Goals that describe what a firm wants to achieve through pricing. Should be consistent with organizational and marketing objectives, can be short or long term, and marketers can employ multiple pricing objectives. For example, Korean companies are known for strong focus on market share in world markets. So when they choose to enter a new market, their pricing emphasizes value. Here we can see a list of pricing objectives and typical actions taken to achieve them. And here, market share, this is Korean method, and other countries also, some other countries also use this method, like Japan. Adjust price levels so the firm can maintain or increase sales relative to competitors' sales, which means trying to undercut the competitors' prices as much as possible. So, the second step in price setting process is assessment of the target market's evaluation of price. Importance of price depends on type of product, type of target market, purchase situation. Value combines a product's price and quality attributes. So customers use value to differentiate between competing brands. The third step is evaluation of competitors' prices. Marketers should use competitors' prices to help them establish their own prices. Although competitors' prices may be closely guarded, but in most cases, it's out in the open. It's official. So pricing above competition creates an exclusive image. Pricing below competition can increase market share. While I was looking for examples, I came across this 5 for $4 advertising from Burger King. Let's count what 5 things. So first of all, burger, fries, chocolate chip cookie, Coke, and onion rings. All right, so the 5 things for the price of $4. It's a great deal as a lunchbox. So we don't have Burger King in Uzbekistan yet, but in countries where Burger King operates, KFC as a fast food joint is a strong competitor for Burger King. So in Uzbekistan, I came across a similar promotion which is currently running in Uzbekistan. Lunchbox 5, this is in Russian, 5 for 25,000 soom. This is approximately $2.50 in Uzbek sooms. So let's count what 5 things you get for $2.50. So you get some chicken meat, right? Some fried chicken, French fries, a bun, ketchup or sauce, and cola. All right, this is a lunchbox that not long ago KFC introduced in Uzbekistan, and it seems that they learned this from their competitors, right? So the pricing may be based. So this really this is not just the price. This presents a value, right? So much you're getting, like 5 things for a certain price. All right. Selection of a basis for pricing is the fourth step in price setting process. The 3 major dimensions on which prices can be based are cost. We discussed cost and demand in the previous chapter a lot. And then also competition, right? We discussed throughout the semester importance of understanding your competition. So that's also true for pricing. So organization usually considers multiple dimensions: type of product, market share structure, market structure of the industry, brand's market share position relative to competing brands, and customer characteristics. Take a look at this airline example. You know, when we talked about products, we differentiated between uh, services and tangible products. And one of the most important characteristics of services is that they're perishable, right? So once, for example, look at this plane just taking off. Once it's midair, you cannot sell the tickets for those empty seats that left with the plane, right? So the seats are perishable. So you cannot store capacity in services. That's why this affects pricing in airlines. In Uzbekistan, we have a monopolist airline, Uzbekistan Airways, but in foreign countries where airlines have several competition, prices may change every minute as departure time approaches. Cost-based pricing. So there are many types of cost-based pricing. Cost-based pricing by adding a dollar amount or percentage to the cost of the product. You derive a price. Cost plus pricing is you determine the seller's cost and add a specific dollar to it. It's used when production costs are difficult to predict. And markup pricing is another variation where you adding a predetermined percentage of the cost to the price of the product. All right. So here it is the cost of the product. Here it's the price of the product. So let's take a look at calculating markup pricing. So markup price could be relative to cost and relative to the selling price. For example, here markup as a percentage of cost is given. It's 33%, but markup as a percentage of selling price is 25%. Non-price factors affecting demand. We discussed some of them in the previous chapter. So market, degree of competition, competitor action and reaction, general economic conditions uh, act as non-price factors for affecting demand and, of course, affecting your pricing. Also, the product itself as another P of marketing mix. It's quality, range, nature, essential, or luxury. Substitutes affect how demand changes and how you can price your product. So a few years ago, Mercedes-Benz brought back Maybach model, which is at the level of competing with Rolls-Royce and other luxury models produced brands produced around the world. So because it is luxury, they can price it at a premium price. Also, non-price factors affecting the demand are support services. For example, our Artel advertises a lot, our local electronics consumer durables producer. They advertise themselves for having most number of service centers throughout Uzbekistan. Now let's talk about competition-based pricing. It's influenced primarily by competitors' prices. Importance of this method increases when competing products are homogeneous. Organization is serving markets in which price is a key consideration, like fast food. In the previous slides, we talked about fast food example, and may necessitate frequent price adjustments. Now we come to the fifth step in price setting process, selection of a pricing strategy. A pricing strategy is an approach or course of action designed to achieve pricing and marketing objectives. This table summarizes some of the most common pricing strategies. Let's discuss them one by one. Differential pricing. So differential pricing means charging different prices to different buyers for the same quality and quantity of the product. So recently we were working with an educational center, and particularly we talked about in Tashkent, we talked about uh, different pricing approaches that could be used to sell its courses, its language courses. And we gave an example of American universities which have very high tuitions. I mean, top universities, top American universities, they have very high tuition, but then depending on the student's needs, family background, talents, and other countless considerations, for example, ethnicity, right? Uh, they can give them different discounts, even full scholarship, like described in this advertisement here. So this is differential pricing. So we suggested doing the same thing, keep having a high price, and then adjusting that price according to the student's social background, according to the student's family's condition, uh, and economic condition, and many other factors. Negotiated pricing is establishing a final price through bargaining between seller and customer, which is very common in markets in Uzbekistan and other Eastern countries. Even our media park, which is like equivalent to American Best Buy. This is electronics consumer durable store. They reposition themselves as electronics bazaar, where you can actually haggle over prices. You can negotiate the prices. Secondary market pricing is one price for primary target market and a different price for another market, right? So sometimes the product may be adjusted a little bit. Companies use periodic discounting pricing, temporary reductions of price on a patterned or systematic basis, like let's say at the end of the year or the beginning of summer break, for example, many stores in the US, they apply this kind of pricing. And random discounting pricing, temporary reduction of prices on an unsystematic basis. This is done in order to keep more customers checking on the store, keeping in touch with the store through websites and apps, so to keep customer interest. When it comes to new product pricing, there are two primary ways. One is price skimming. Price skimming is used by Apple computers a lot when launching new products. So they set a highest possible price that buyers who most desire the product will pay, and eventually they lower them once most of the people who can afford have bought it. They may lower the price a little bit, and then especially when they introduce a new version of the same phone, they can drop the price considerably for the older versions. On the other hand, penetration pricing means setting the price below those of competing brands to penetrate a market and gain a significant market share quickly. So, which is done by Korean companies, Japanese companies, and it's also practiced by Uzbek companies. But one important thing to note about penetration pricing, it should be temporary. Few months or few years at most, once the company gets the foothold in the market, the price can be increased. So it cannot work forever because it will exhaust the company's financial resources if the company keeps doing it like this. Our Uzdeo company, which is now GM Uzbekistan, has been doing it in Russia for so many years, and already in recent years, this pricing strategy backfired because you know they've been doing it for more than 20 years. Product line pricing is establishing and adjusting prices of multiple products within a product line. Companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Procter and Gamble, which have multiple product lines and different versions of the products within the lines, they have to decide on how to do the product line pricing. Captive product pricing is when you have two products which have to be used together to get the necessary effect, so that you, in order to kind of get foot in the door, you price uh, one of them at low level, and you charge higher prices for uh, captive product, for complementary product. For example, Gillette is the best example. So the razors are quite affordable, but then the cartridges are very expensive. So they make more money out of cartridges which go into Gillette. Premium pricing. Pricing the highest quality or most versatile products higher than other models in the product line. So this is one version of product line pricing. Another one is bait pricing. Pricing an item in a product line low with the intention of selling higher priced items in the line. So Korzinka in Uzbekistan does it a lot. So in summertime, especially when people are canning, they sell the lowest priced sugar, probably even at a loss. But a lot of people come for sugar, but end up buying a lot of other things. So sugar acts as low sugar price acts as a bait pricing. Price lining is setting a limited number of prices for selected groups or lines of merchandise. By the way, speaking about bait pricing, Alibaba uses bait pricing a lot. So a lot of prices that you see on Alibaba, they're for very basic standard products, but once you get interested, the prices end up being much higher than you expected. So Here's an example for price lining. So 85 $85 price range, $55 price range, and $35 price range of um, products within your product line could be identified. So there is some kind of step between them. Now, psychological pricing. It's the pricing that attempts to influence customers' perception of a price to make a product's price more attractive. Reference pricing, on the other hand, is pricing a product at a moderate level and displaying it next to a more expensive model or brand. We'll see some examples later on. And bundle pricing is packaging together two or more complementary products and selling them at a single price. For example, it could be you could be selling a laptop together with a bag, right? Multiple unit pricing as a part of psychological pricing technique, packaging two or more identical products and selling them at a single price, which is practiced in supermarkets nowadays. Everyday low prices is, I think, was introduced by Walmart, where they convince customers to come in any day and get a great deal. Odd even pricing is ending the price with a certain numbers to influence buyers' perceptions of the price or product. Usually that's 99, 9, but it could be some other number which is close to the price. For example, here, instead of $45 during sale, they're doing 39, so people think it is in the 30s range, and they think uh, it's a great deal. Customary pricing, when I was looking at an example for customary pricing, I came across matches example. So in during Soviet Union, uh, all my life during Soviet Union, a box of matches was 1 kopeck, which is it's like roughly 1 cent. Okay, box of matches. The size of matches was standard, and the number of matches inside the matchbox wasn't important, but it was always 1 kopeck, right? 1 cent. Now, fast forward to Uzbekistan, matches, a box of matches for so many years has been 100 sum. And they may, the size is the same, but they may decrease the amount of matches inside one. But this is an example of customary pricing. So 150 already looks suspicious. On the other hand, prestige pricing, uh, Swiss watchmaker Swatch, they price their quartz electronic watches at several times the price of similar uh, Chinese or even Japanese watches because they emphasize prestige and quality, which goes with country of origin effect, as we talked in previous classes. So even though it's just a very basic watch, which also tells time, it's Swiss made, even if it's made in robotic lines, but it has this country of origin effect. And of course, they use different designs. They keep changing them every season, so it's a prestige to wear a Swiss watch, even if this quartz watch, battery powered quartz watch. Last but not least, we should talk about professional pricing. For this example, I would like to talk about lawyers, but then I will mention about consultants. So lawyers in especially in the United States, they price their services at a very high rate. Uh, of course, it depends on the qualification, but $100 an hour is a norm. And did you know that it is usually rounded to the nearest hour? So if you call your lawyer and get a 10 minutes consultation over the phone, it's rounded to 1 hour and you're billed. If it's 1 hour and 15 minutes, it's 2 hour bill. So that's why we're talking about here uh, professionals such as lawyers, consultants, doctors have an ethical responsibility not to overcharge customers. So when I do training or consulting services, I also try to um, be set a reasonable price. So in order to explain, they usually ask why it is so high. I comment by saying that they're not paying me only for the hours that I spend at the company, with the client, but also for all the preparation which goes for each hour of working with the client. Let's briefly talk about types of promotional pricing. Uh, Price is often coordinated with promotion, right? We talked about integrated marketing communication and how uh, advertising should be coordinated with other elements of marketing mix. And here's an example of such integration. So price leader is products priced below the usual markup, near cost or below cost, and management hopes sales of regularly priced merchandise will offset the reduced revenues from the price leaders. So clothing companies, electronics companies, they could say 75% off on limited items, but then people come and they find out that other products are not at 75% off, but because they're already in the store, they might end up buying it. Special event pricing is when advertised sales of price cutting is used to increase sales volume and is linked to a holiday, a season, or other event. In the United States, uh, during normal days, non-holiday days, most people do not shop at stores. They just go there for window shopping, and they wait for a holiday or some kind of special season where prices are dropped considerably. Comparison discounting is pricing of a product at a specific level and simultaneously comparing it to a higher uh, price. They even have a special price sticker saying compare at how it is sold at other stores at other times. And the final step in the price setting process is devising a pricing strategy. Well, we made it. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a great day. All the best in the final exams.